Before seeing her career thoroughly destroyed by communist witch hunters in the 1950s, Hazel Scott was easily as well known a black recording film and nightclub figure as Lena Horne. In fact, in 1944, both appeared in the MGM musical I Doed It. At the age of 8, although too young for official admission to New York's Juilliard School, Jamaican-born but Harlem-bred Scott began informal studies at the prestigious institution with a piano teacher who deemed her a genius. At the age of 12, at Carnegie Hall, Scott performed Tchaikovsky's Concerto for Piano and Orchestra, a rare honor for an adolescent of any race. Flash forward a few years, and before Martin Luther King, there was perhaps no greater racial crusader than singer-pianist Hazel Scott.
We're sitting at this counter, and this dear little young woman comes over to us and said, "Yes?" And Eunice said, "I'll have this, and I'll have..." She said, "I'm very sorry we can't serve you." And I sat there, I couldn't believe this. And if you get any further north, you'll be in Canada, Eunice. This is the state of Washington. And I said, "Come on, we're going to find the police station." And around the corner and up the street we went, where I looked into a pair of the coldest green eyes I've ever seen in my life.
In 1950, in their chambers, Scott was the first person of, as the old saying goes, any race, creed, color, or religion to take on the House Un-American Activities Committee. The wedding of Scott to Congressman Adam Clayton Powell in 1945 was the subject of a major spread in Life magazine. It was the first time American blacks had ever received such royal coverage. Hazel Scott in 1950 was the first African American with their own network TV show. Now, Scott's initial public splash was with boogie-woogie versions of the Three B's. Early on, though, she moved on to straight-ahead swing and later bebop. Witness this trio session featuring Charles Mingus on bass.
I'm Hazel Scott. I'd like you to meet the members of my trio. We have Charlie Mingus on bass and Rudy Nichols on drums. We'd like to do our version of A Foggy Day for you. I was a stranger in the city. Out of town were the people I knew. I had that feeling of self-pity. What to do? What to do, what to do. The outlook was decidedly blue. But as I walked through the dreary streets alone, it turned out to be the luckiest day I know. Had me down. I viewed the morning with much love. The British Museum had lost its charm. How long, I wonder, could this thing last? But the age of miracles hadn't passed, for suddenly I saw you there, and in foggy London town the sun was shining everywhere.
Scott began appearing at New York's fabled Cafe Society uptown in 1938. Her beginning salary there was $65 a week. 7 years later, she was still a regular fixture at the club, making $2,000 a week. Expatriated to Paris in the late 1950s, Scott still managed to participate long distance in the U.S. civil rights activities. On the day of the Martin Luther King March on Washington, Scott, too, led a delegation of her own, including James Baldwin, Anthony Quinn, Memphis Slim, and Richard Avedon from the American Church to the U.S. Embassy to deliver a petition in support of the march. Long divorced from Adam Clayton Powell, Scott returned to the U.S. in 1966 and spent her final days there performing and recording sporadically. But her years as a high-profile public figure and the memory of her invaluable contributions to the U.S. racial situations were a thing of the distant past, mostly as a side effect of her turbulent years in the red-baiting storm of the 1950s. Scott died in 1961. No proper biography of this important musical culture political figure has ever been published until such a time this projected Hazel Scott documentary should fill the void nicely.